Looking to buy a house and wondering what documents you need to get pre-approval? The basics are these. If you are a W-2 employee, we're going to want 2 years worth of W-2s. We're going to want your last 2 pay stubs. That's if you're salary. If you're hourly, I'm going to want those W-2s and your last 2 pay stubs, but I'm also going to want to see your last pay stub from the previous year. This is really important, especially if you're hourly, because it will show me how much overtime you've had, because most pay stubs have a year to date. So I'm looking at your previous year's pay stub. I can see what you earned from a base income perspective, but also what you earned with overtime as well. This information is going to allow me to use all your income, which is going to really help your affordability. So if you're hourly and earn overtime, I want to get those W-2s as well as the last 2 pay stubs and the year-end pay stub from the previous year. I'm going to request a verification of employment from your employer, which is needed anyways as we move forward. Now, if you're part-time, it's going to be the same thing as an hourly employee. I have to try and figure out how many hours you're working on average. I need a 2-year history in order to average. So if you're like, well, I was only working 20 hours a week in the last year and 10 hours a week the year before last, and this year I'm only working 15 to 20, I'm going to be doing a 2-year average. Where you are this month doesn't matter unless it's lower than your average. So pay stubs here are going to be super important. Do I want you to send me 2 years full pay stubs, every pay stub from the last 2 years? God, no, please don't do that. The end of the year pay stub will show me what I need to know. Now let's say you're self-employed. I'm going to want the last 2 years of your personal tax returns. And if you're an LLC, I'm going to want the business returns along with the K-1s. Those are some of the basic documents we need when it comes to income. Of course, there can be more documentation we need based on your specific situation, but those are really the basics. All right, now assets. If you're telling me you're going to put 20% down and you send me your bank statement and I only see $5,000 in there, I really need to know where the money to close is going to come from. I need to show you have the money to close. Do I need every single bank statement you've ever had? Absolutely not. Here's an example. I have investment properties, right? So when I apply for a loan, I have 2 accounts that I show the loan officer. One is my savings account with minimal transactions in it and no large deposits. The other is a reserves account. Not all loans require reserves. Certain loans will require reserves, meaning extra money in the bank. So if needed, I have my 401k that shows there's money in there and no other savings accounts. I do not include any other account. There's no need for the underwriter to see my bank account or my Bank of America checking account with $500 in it. So that's what you'll want to think about. Some people will say, I gave you everything, right? And I'll look and see an account that's overdrawn. There's no need to see that. Whatever account you plan on using for closing, that's the one I will need to see. Just make sure you show me enough so I can say, yeah, they have the money to put 20% down. So for assets, I'm going to ask for your last 2 months' bank statements. Now, when you fill out the online mortgage application, it will ask for your passwords. And if you're not comfortable doing this, that's totally okay. You can just send them in yourself, either email or through a portal that we have. But a lot of mortgage companies are doing this now. And trust me, when I did this myself, I applied for a loan on an investment property. I was a little sketched out, but it's completely securitized. It's done by a third party. Neither me nor my company has access to your password. It's completely safe. So we can verify electronically, but like I said, if this is not for you, that's totally fine. You can send me your statements yourself in another secure way. Well, let's say you're using a Bank of America account and a Schwab account. I just need all pages of the last 2 months' bank statements. You can easily download those online as a PDF and upload them. It's very easy. Now, let's say you own a house. I'm going to need your most recent mortgage statement, and I'm also going to need your homeowner's insurance declaration page. This is the page that shows what you pay each month in homeowner's insurance. If you own properties that are rentals, I'm going to also need all this information as well as a copy of the rental agreement. This all sounds like a lot of stuff, but it's really not. What I'm looking for is I have to be able to prove your income that you've stated, and if it's off, then we just fix it. I have to be able to prove what your liabilities are. So if you're saying the house on XYZ road costs you $3,000 per month, I need to show that in fact house on XYZ road costs $3,000 per month. So I'm just compiling all the evidence so that everything you've said is accurate. Okay, now hopefully that makes sense. Something I always do is if someone's work situation has changed a few times the last 2 years, maybe they've changed jobs a few times, I'll make them do a letter of explanation that just says, I was working at XYZ company for 3 years. I got another opportunity from this other company, but then they weren't what I expected, so I ended up at this other company, and then I ended up at this company, and now I'm at this company where I'm very happy. Sometimes people will go and job hop and say, well, I job hop too much, am I going to be in trouble? And you're really not. We're just trying to show some level of job stability. There's a lot of situations where a letter of explanation can make sense and clear up any questions an underwriter might have. Now, one thing I want to note, you may send me all this information, but I still might ask for more. Maybe it's a $10,000 deposit on XYZ date, for example, right? Large deposits, we have to get additional information. There's a lot of guidelines that can lead to us asking for more documents, but that's part of the reason I like to ask for all the information up front, because we do all this before you're in contract, before you're stressed out, so really there aren't any surprises. We don't want you in a position where you're under contract and, oh my God, I have to get more documents. It's rare we have situations where we ask for more and more info. I definitely would not expect that in your mortgage journey. There's a lot can be done electronically, and my goal is to bother you as little as possible, okay? So if you have questions on the mortgage process and what you need to prepare for your loan officer, my contact information is below.